everyone, Joe here from ActionX, and welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back. This is your second Matlock episode review. It takes a bit of time for me to get comfortable a little bit. I haven't really started a new show in like forever now. Maybe like it's been a couple years now since I've had to like say like, because normally I'm doing Rookie, I did Walker, I did other shows. So like for me, it's like it takes a little bit to like kind of get the tongues in order, if that makes sense. I do apologize if I look a little more beaten up and tired than usual. I just attended my annual New York Comic Con, and I'm a little tired, but you know what? I was very excited considering the fact that not only did I have a brand new episode of Matlock to watch, I also had Georgie and Mandy to watch the premiere, and I thought that was really good. That was a really good one. But not as good as this week's episode of Matlock, which I'm like, damn, I am getting really invested here. I'm starting to really. Because again, like when we were here last week talking about the premiere, which again I was delayed on. Now I'm like, here we are finally at the Culps event because I need to see what happened next. I haven't really felt actual suspense in a while when it comes to TV show, and I do watch a lot of TV. I think I watch more TV shows than movies nowadays, and whether that is doing stuff for this channel or just in general or with my partner or watching it with my friends, like. I have really not felt suspense. I feel like we're in a really good spot when it comes to TV, at least in my personal circle. I'm watching The Penguin right now, for example, and that's like really, really great. And I feel like Matlock, being a network television show that produces new episodes each and every week, hopefully throughout the entire TV season. I don't know what the exact schedule is going to be for this show. I'm like, I apologize. This was just so damn good. I'm like really getting more invested as we go about, because again, like for me personally speaking, like they had this could have really been a simple like entry point, and just have it be like kind of like a modern day Matlock, and the quality was great, and then like obviously when we got to the end, I'm like now I started becoming a little bit more intrigued by it, starting to become more a little bit more like, okay, I want to see how this really goes. This episode really like. I was actually we'll get to that in a second, but like by the time we reached that last scene, I'm like. Damn, I'm like, actually, I was expecting a little bit of a cliche, but I'm like, okay, maybe it's not going to go the way we thought. And then I'm like, it completely turns its head. And then I didn't realize it. I'm like, they're very cheeky and smart. Like, I'm like, damn, I'm like, this show's different. This is like, it's not playing into tropes, but it also feels realistic. I don't know what that weird middle area would be called, but for me, I'm just like, damn, that was really good. I really did, and I'm every cast member is. I'm getting sold on them, and I say this. I say this in all of my shows. The story can be complete crap, but if the characters are entertaining, engaging, and have a direction, I'll keep watching it. But in this case, it's that plus a great story, and now having the understanding of what's going on. Now it's like okay, now it's like it's a bit different now. Like we kind of feel it as well. It's like kind of the show kind of. Slightly changes to reflect that, and maybe it's because if you're unaware, they shot the pilot first, and then they came back to work over a year later because of the dual strikes, and then by the time they were coming back, like, no, we don't want to rush out the first season. Let's wait till the next season to give it a proper TV season to air its story. And unlike most of the shows that did come out, where it's usually like 10 or something episodes, and that just wouldn't have been sufficient to tell the whole story. And I'm like, I'm so thankful because like. It would have been more tighter, yeah, but I'm now slowly trusting the writers in what they're trying to build out here. That they are following the case-to-case format every week, but at the same time, we are kind of getting closer to what the big red herring is. And it's kind of like becoming kind of like a little bit of a mystery show, which I really, really love, which I'm like, damn, they're hitting all those boxes for me. And also something I didn't know when I was going into last week's review, I did some research on the post, where apparently the creator of this show, well, the creator of the reboot, the show is a different person, obviously, because it's a reboot, was Jenny Ergman. I apologize if I'm butchering your name. She produced the amazing for CW quality, like that deserved to be on a proper Big Four network television platform. Jane the Virgin. I reviewed it kind of at the beginning of my overall What's on the Tube journey, And I love that show with a passion. I really, really did. That's one of the rare shows where, like, I would honestly, if I had the time and commitment to go into do a deeper season by season deep recap, but I just don't have the sufficient time right now. And that show was so well done. I mean, got a little long in the tooth to do 100 chapters, but I think they did well. And I'm like, she's making this show. I'm like, already. I'm in. I'm so in. I can't wait to like, you know, really see more of it, because she's an amazing. She knows how to tell a great story. So I have utmost confidence now that this show, and so far it's tracking, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I mark my words that it will be great. And I would not be surprised. I haven't seen the ratings for the show. I haven't seen it. I'm keeping away from that because I want to be surprised, because I've had a lot of cancellation. I had a lot of heartbreak the last couple years. So I'm like, I really hope we don't get any bad news. I really hope, because like, I really hope this show keeps going a little longer. And I say that because, like, you know, Kathy Bates said that this will be her last role, but she did clarify that she would want this to be a longevity role, that to have more seasons with this character before she signs off. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. And I think she picked a fantastic writer to do that for her. With all that praise being said, let's get through the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Matlock. So we begin kind of with, like, you know, this weird, like, framing, and obviously a recap, considering the fact it's been a few weeks since the last episode for the people who watched it live back in September, where, again, now knowing the context that Matlock is technically undercover at the law firm to figure out who exactly in the firm was the one that blockaded specific documents that could have led to the opioid crisis being delayed, or even taken off the market for a bit while to prevent their daughter from dying. She goes in baking a bunch of muffins, which I know they were blueberry. I think they were blueberry. They look like blueberry. I don't really know. I've never actually made proper muffins before. I think I've only made, like, what did I make? I think I just made chocolate chip. I actually remember when I went to Texas one time, I promised my friend I would make him protein cupcakes. I never made protein muffins before. And I was like, fuck, I should not have said that whatsoever. It actually tasted good for a first time. I just followed a recipe, but I was like actually surprised at how tasty they were. He didn't like it that much because, like, you know, he doesn't really like sweets. Anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that she's now trying a much more cliche approach to earn the trust of the higher ups in the law firm, including Olympia. Damn, I forgot his name again. It's damn, I already forgot the guy. Jason Rickman's character, and also the head of the firm, senior. They're discussing something. Then Matlock comes in and then immediately offers him a muffin. You know, they slowly get into it. However, Olympia calls her out and says, "Wait a minute, you said when we first met that Matlock ended in '92. Well, actually, ABC picked it up for 3 more years. So technically it ended in '95. So you were factually incorrect, ma'am." And I'm like, okay, damn. I was like, oh, okay, show over already. She's like, they're about to, like, question her to high hell. Like, why are you even here? What exactly are you doing here? And she's starting to get worried. He changes her outfit briefly. Yeah, it turns out to be a nightmare. And she wakes up and apparently her husband said, "Oh, it's one of your anxiety dreams." Where, like, yeah, she just realized that crucial mistake she made back in the premiere, and she's like, damn, like, you know, that's gonna come back and bite me. That's gonna come back and bite me eventually. And he's like not trying to let her worry. He's like, oh, come on, it's like one small detail. And she does mention that Madeline does mention that, yeah, she does get a little flustered and a little bit, like, too quick with her words when she gets a little bit too tensed up. So for her, like, it would be better for, like, you know, especially now that she's gonna now is in the crucial stage of, like, she's got to earn the trust of everyone to actually, like, step by step, like, actually just take her words, you know, seriously. Because, like, again, these are all lawyers. They literally will analyze every single thing. So she's got to be very careful from now on. She gets dressed up, reminded of her mission, and her son comes in to kind of give her assignments. It's like the grandson, kind of like the mission giver in these spy movies. And he's just like, yeah, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to, well, we need passcode. We need to get into this firewall. Like, the faster we get into this firewall, the faster we can find the documentations to prove who did what. And Madeline's like, wait, hold on. We just started this. We literally are just beginning this job. Let's take a moment. Let me actually earn their trust, and then we will actually talk about passcodes and trying to get into like these documentation. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while. Like she just started here, so like no one's gonna in her right mind is gonna trust her with these like very sensitive information. And her grandson's like, okay, fine, but like, you know, at least can we make somewhat of an effort? And also, I love their banter already. It's like your traditional grandma and grandson looking thing, but technically you're enabling your grandson to be like, yeah, we're gonna commit some undercover type thing. It's not technically legal to be doing this, but we are doing some undercover shit, you and me, buddy boy. Which I'm like, damn. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had an amazing abuelita. I had an amazing grandma growing up, but I never had my second grandma, which was from my mother's side. But if anything, I would just love Katie Bates to be my grandma. No, actually, no. The Jane the Virgin grandma is also better too. It's not a competition anyway. So Matlock heads into work because right now again that's the mission, to establish trust and to get more ins and outs, and that starts with getting more of a straight foot from her boss, Olympia, who is in the middle of the traditional dance of exchanging custodies with her soon-to-be ex-husband, the other senior law firm partner, as they're in the middle of another tense match. And also, I can definitely tell the pilot money ran out. They are using now pre-constructed stuff, which honestly, again, it makes sense because, like, honestly, it's for some reason it's more money to build sets than to rent out location. I never understood that really. Like, wouldn't it be easier to like build a temporary set than like having to pay the city or the state or whatever, wherever you're filming, like these fees to like use your set? I never understood the mathematics of it, but like, okay, it actually is cost saving to like actually go and build their own set, which I'm like, yeah, it's, okay, again, I can tell when something's a TV set and when's realistic. I don't really know. And like, again, maybe they knew about it, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But usually pilots get way more money and way more time to shoot than the freaking than the actual series. So in the middle of the fight, they're in the middle of a tense elevator ride up, but Matlock intervenes herself to kind of gain some brownie points with Olympia. He's immediately like siding her when her soon-to-be ex-husband asks her a very important question about candy and kids and like the quantity usage of it, and she's like, oh no, I'm too old to like get into the middle of this, but if I do have to choose a side, I'll choose whatever the side my boss is at. And Olivia's like giving her like, okay, she's already doing the right thing, she's doing the right things already. And the guy's like, just typical. Well, why am I not surprised? Matlock goes to talk to one of the administrative aides about the trying to gain access to certain documentations. However, she does mention to her, like, you just started here. This is your first official real day. What documents could you be asking for right away? And Matlock uses the whole, like, listen, I'm old. I'm going to be saying a lot of old jokes in this review series. I do apologize, but then she starts them, so I do apologize on that. And yeah, so she says, like, oh, I'm old. Like, I can't be focusing on the past. I can't be focusing on going the speed of, like, a regular associate. Like, I don't have that much time. I literally need to start getting ready for, like, the next few steps of my career already now. So it does not hurt to get ahead of the curve by having access to these documents so I can get ahead and, like, catch up to everyone else. And she's like, okay, I don't mind giving you access, but you need permission from your boss. Which, again, it's another one of those, gotta get Olympia's trust type of thing. And, again, like, just the sly things where, like, the other senior partner is kind of just super damn close to her and giving these like really mixed signals to the odds. Like, so are y'all banging or what? Like, I'm assuming y'all are banging on the side. You just can't go public with it until after the divorce is final. And I'm just like, damn, that's, I mean, again, I know that's like kind of corny ass, stuff of like, like, like the divorcee has like a secret fling, and then as soon as everything ends, they're gonna go public. They're gonna start their own relationship. And I'm like, again, like, is that what it is? Who knows? Like, they're not expressly saying they're fucking, or I just realized this is the TV-14 show. I do apologize for my language. They're not insinuating that they're boning, but there is like at least an implication that they're not just friends, but they're like kind of being very careful what they say around the office. I want to say Matlock gets her new office, which when I say new office, it's a shared office between her, Sarah, and Julian. I'm trying to get comfortable with their names. I'm usually calling Leia Lewis's character George, so I'm like, Sarah. Okay, I gotta get used to that. And Sarah's not quite happy. They also have standing desks, which I'm like, I have one too, which I'm like, that's pretty cool, but they're But they're installed on the other side, which I think technically I could do that for mine, but it's already too late. It's done. And they're getting adequate to their new, their new surroundings again. These two were kind of bottom of the barrel. They still are bottom of the barrel, and now they're sharing an office with Matlock, and this is not exactly where they were expecting in their careers to be, but it is what it is on that front, and they're kind of just getting ready for the next business day. Again, this being their first day properly working on a case that's not been the one they've been stuck on for 6 months. Probably isn't thrilling for them because they're ready to properly get to it, actually really start the meat of their work with these big high paying cases. However, it's a little bit interrupted when I guess someone that's very knowledgeable to the firm comes in crying. Apparently her son just got arrested or is in the middle of a murder trial, and I think that the defense just literally bowed out now, and they got basically no other choice but to come here. Trying to sympathize with Olympia to take the case, even though they only have 2 hours before they have to get into the courtroom and at least address for an extension or trying to dismiss the case or whatever. And at first, Olympia, again, having orders to focus on high paying cases, is kind of stuck here. But Matlock, being Matlock, overhears this, and she's like, "No, we're gonna help. We're gonna help you out." So, and so for me, I'm just looking at this and damn. Olympia probably doesn't like Matlock right now because this was not the plan. But again, they do take the case eventually, even with the 2 hour time difference. So we gotta get a bit of a montage where Olympia goes ahead to the court to get the court arrangement started, kind of get really for us to kind of get the layout of the case itself, while Julie and Sarah and Madeline are busy trying to get all the information they can to at least maybe give them some sort of edge and at least some sort of catch up on the case as well. So the case is basically there is a murder of a teenager, I believe so, and there was the son of the person that just came in was seen floating over the body, covered in blood, and the assumption is a couple of the witnesses say that it was him. He was the murderer, considering the fact he was hovering over the body, and that's kind of supposedly their ironclad case or whatever. So they what was the word? So that's basically all they have on it right now, just that one witness testimony. And while sadly Julie and Sarah doesn't get anything about the case that they can't really help, Madeline decides to focus on the witness, who is a bit of an older gentleman per se. So definitely their plan right now is to basically destroy his credibility, to destroy the prosecution's only chance of really having a silver bullet against him. So they go to his house. They immediately Madeline just starts flirting with him a little bit, not flirting, but more slight flirting, just kind of getting him a little bit more on guard of things. And that works for the most part as he gets a little bit too in detail of what he was doing, not in a very inappropriate way, about what his night to night was leading up to his discovery of the scene. But Matlock pokes some holes into it, as apparently technically he was watching an entire programming with commercial breaks, and the entire length of him hearing the scream to the actual visual was almost half an hour. So technically, anything can happen in that half an hour. Someone could murder someone 10 minutes ago. I could just happen to walk by and someone sees me. That doesn't mean I killed them. I just happened to walk by. In that case, so definitely they're going to use that against him, and now that is definitely enough to actually get a proper dismissal of his witness testimony. But they still have to figure out who exactly did it. It's still not quite said and done yet. So I think eventually the other thing is that there's a bodega that was facing, and also they employed the individual that is being accused right now. So they volunteer to assist them no matter how they do. So Olympia, so they all of them head over down to the bodega. However, after Olympia briefly praises Madeline for her good work on throwing out the testimony, Matlock, seeing that Sarah's not quite happy with her, considering the fact that Sarah is, like any other young junior associate, she wants to move up the ranks fairly quickly, and her being on the good side of her boss is definitely one of them. And Madeline kind of getting all the very easy wins and everything. It's not something that she's sitting well with, so Matlock decides to like, well, you know what? It was a team effort. Like, you know, we all did it. Like, we all, like, Sarah's got the tech and Julian's got the moxie, and I just happen to have the charm. But Olympia kind of like takes it a little bit to negatory as she assumes that, oh, so you think that I'm not valuing my associate as well? Is that what you're saying? And Madeline like thinks she screwed up and everything, so Olympia just takes Sarah and Julia with her into the bodega to check out the CCTV footage. However, the deli owner does actually refuse to give it without a subpoena, which actually already raises suspicions about it. Then Madeline outside talks to her grandson, trying to give him an update on how things are going. Madeline believes she kind of hit a bit of a hiccup with not being able to get much progress on the trust, supposedly, as she's being benched, kind of. And then Madeline notices a bunch of girls kind of looking at the deli a little bit, in kind of like a weird, not like a weird, but more like a somber fashion, like they kind of know what's going on. And yeah, but however, Madeline gets caught by Olympia and the others outside, which Olympia said that's a direct violation of her order, since she clearly said, Madeline, please stay in the car. I swear to God. And she was a bit unhappy, but she gets a phone call, so she has to sadly step away from them, and as they have to return back to what's the plan? Return back to the office. Madeline tells Julian and Sarah about her potential lead, about like that these prep school girls are like a little bit more, you know, emotionally reactive to this than like a normal person would be in. So she thinks maybe they're involved somehow with maybe actually knowing the victim. Sarah manages to use her whatever thing she uses and identifies them as students at a nearby school. So they head over there. Madeline playing the old woman card to like gain some sympathy points, and they get a little bit more knowledge on it. Apparently, the deli owner we just saw is defined as a creepy person. And there may have been some snafus between her and the deceased not too long ago, which may have indicated that maybe he could be involved in the murder, until, you know, supposedly the guy that they're being acquitted on is the accused is being in. So Matlock and the others return back to the office to fill Olympia in on what they learned. Olympia's daughter is also there because apparently she's a little bit sick and needs a little bit, like, you know, parental guidance. Let's say that. So they fill her in that it could be possible, considering the fact that the deli owner does not want to disclose the CCTV footage without a subpoena, and these other people are calling him creepy. Maybe there's a possibility he could have been involved in the murder, as well as, you know, the time frame of the supposed murder to when it was called in, you know, does not match anything right now. So definitely that's a bit of a eye-bubbling concern with it. So we then reach over to what was the next thing? I want to say there is a scene with I forgot. There was a scene earlier where Olympia is getting approval from Senior and and with her ex-husband, or soon to be ex-husband, present, that she wants approval on this case, and Senior's like, go for it, why not? You know, hopefully this is just a quick and done. You can go back to your other cases that we need to make money off. And it sounds a bit mad because, you know, usually in a divorce, you know, the parents side with their actual biological kids. In this case, recently, Senior seems to be more siding for Olympia, and Senior's just like, look, I'm old, I kind of know how this is going to go, so I'd rather give her like a little bit more brownie points than you, who like basically have everything needed to like inherit the firm one day. So I'm like, you know what, that's kind of a fair trade-off. For me, that's a fair trade-off in my books. So eventually, with all that, you know, questionability on the deli owner, they managed to get the subpoena, and once they get the subpoena officially in, they go back to the deli, but this time Olivia tells Matlock to stay put at the firm itself, don't leave as well. Matlock gets a little bit insulted by it, but she kind of has no choice but to follow orders. So we head over back to the bodega, where they are given the footage with a bit of hesitation, but again, they did say, we'll give it to you with a subpoena, here it is, and they're feeling like a bit guilty on the subject. So they return back to the law firm. Apparently, the real reason why the deli owner was hesitant on giving out that footage is because apparently he's been giving out alcohol to minors, which again is grounds for losing their license. Actually, my deli not too far from here actually got issuated with that same situation. So it was like, damn, that was like a little close to home. So he was trying to hide the footage, so at least it doesn't get publicized that he was, doing that, and he would lose a major source of revenue. So then after that, apparently, as they fast forward the footage a little bit more, they find out that the son of the person that was asking them to take the case is seen on camera with taking the condoms from the thing, which was found nearby to the side of the body, which again is not looking good for him. They take the footage back to the mom, and I think that's her grandma or her aunt, or the aunt of the individual, and they're not baffled by it, like saying that we know him. He would never do this whatsoever. This is clearly something's wrong here. But like again, at this point, they just assume like the footage is proving otherwise. Like it's something that they can't really deny anymore. And they kind of even the mom goes after Matlock as Matlock tries to use her deceased daughter to kind of gain some sympathy points from her to make them understand their position. But she's like, no, I know my son. You didn't know your daughter like that, but I do. Kind of like an insult to Matlock. And even though it's one of the few things she didn't lie about, it's still like, damn, like, like for Madeline, it's just like, damn, it's just, it's kind of like a blow to things, considering the fact that she's been trying to like stay composed and everything, but that kind of hits a little too close to home, especially when she does come home after a long day, and she's out of it. She really is like, this isn't exactly how things are, and she also says something with her grandson, like a lore thing. I forgot what exactly the anagram was, but basically there was the reason why this all was triggered was that they found, I think, a Reddit post or some sort of post online that kind of gave them the hint that this law firm in particular was hiding documentation that would have helped with the opioid crisis, and that's kind of where things started from there. And I think the anagram was where they're basically making Madeline's grandson's mom, her daughter, proud that they're kind of looking into this and trying to find some sort of answer to things. We cut over to the next day. It's a new day. Madeline's still kind of zoned out of it. But however, there was a scene earlier where I forgot to mention it when they were in front of the bodega where they're trying to figure out how to get back to Queens. And they asked Madeline what trains would they take. And Madeline doesn't actually know what trains because she technically doesn't take the trains. She says, oh, I take the bus. And Sarah starts getting in her face about it, which I'm like, technically there are buses that go to Queens and Manhattan. So I'm like, she's a bit like, I mean, she's a native New Yorker. She should know there are buses connecting the different boroughs. It's not the best, but it is something. So from there we go to, where do we go from? So we go back to it. So Madeline told him about the whole, like, faking a mugging gone wrong on the subway. So he actually doctored in Madeline's face on the article so that if anyone goes snooping for it, that at least it's there. And I'm just like, damn, he's actually pretty good. Like, for a kid, he's actually really good. I like technology and stuff like that. And Madeline kind of gets a little bit of like a potential lead on it, possibly. At the same time, Olympia's at court to, at this point, having to question the deli owner to at least maybe cast some doubt that maybe he's the murderer, considering the fact if he hit about the underage drinking, that maybe he could be hiding a murder. Eventually, once they review about the footage about him, about the guilty party or the accused party about the condom thing, like he was saying, like, yeah, no, well, he makes a misstep that makes Olympia think, wait a minute, if I really think about it, that was one of those like tall platform delis where like the deli owners are much taller as they are, as they're on an incline. So she's thinking, wait a minute, this man is short. And I'm just like, damn, like the way she said it was like, he's short. So I'm like, so she calls for a brief recess. She meets up with Matlock quickly, and Matlock even shares her own fear that there is a possibility that footage may be doctored. So they need comparison shots. So they send Matlock finally over to the bodega, which Olympia mentions to her, like, the reason why I kept you from the bodega wasn't because I didn't trust you, but because I knew you might be useful here at this moment, where they don't know your association with us, so you can go there as an average person and maybe get the information we need. So she does do that. She heads over to the bodega, basically acting like a granny's back in action type of thing, which I'm like, damn. I love Katie Bates so much. I've only really gotten seeing her lead for 2 episodes. I'm already loving her. I'm already loving her performance. Where she's like, and she asked the cashier to like film her getting the condoms. Like, this is like such a major accomplishment that I'm back in the action, I can't even take myself seriously. But she takes the footage back to court, and Olympia uses this to basically debunk the fact that this footage is doctored, considering the fact that Matlock and the individual are both 5'2", and since the height difference between the ground floor and the countertop are just way too big for a regular person to be at, that footage had to be doctored, or at least, properly assisted by someone. But it looks too realistic to not be the case. Eventually, it turns out the deli owner's son actually doctored the footage, because technically in the real footage, it's him. Apparently, he took the condoms. I forgot exactly how this goes originally, but that he finds the girl outside the back. He does something wrong. Apparently, he shakes her up a little bit, and then she slips and falls, which caused her death. And he was so shocked and everything, he didn't really know what to do exactly. And while he was trying to figure out, that's when the other guy came in, and that's when the old man noticed him and then accused him of it, because again, he didn't know exactly what was going on, but he did see the correlation there. So now it's all starting to make sense. So he gets arrested for the charge, and the guy that they were defending is actually exonerated from the crime. So, but Madeline, I could tell, is very happy. While they saved one child, they didn't save the other child. Which, and again, one set of parents were fine, the other ones were not. So, I mean, again, it sucks. It really does suck. But Olympia looks at her like, at least there was justice. And Madeline says, yes, there will always be justice. Which I'm like, Madeline, we don't need to push your agenda right now. Again, we're building trust. We're building trust. Don't get too anxiety driven over it. So yeah, the case is over. That's all said and done. Officially, Olympia and the other senior partner have a kind of a slight moment. I think that this was the scene where he says the line we've been friends for way too long, and I'm like, dude, you are just. Again, this is the moment we get the realization what this exactly is, because we need to define it by this point. It better be exactly what it needs to be, otherwise I'm gonna get mad by all these wordplay. But he does tell her that yeah, well maybe you should find a way to live co-peacefully with your soon-to-be ex-husband, because after November, things might be different. So we kind of need to play the ball right over here, which she does. So she does apologize to him about things, and she admits the reason why she didn't tell him originally about the sickness is because she's been tired of the whole co-parenting thing, really getting one weekend with them and then the other week not, and then not really being useful as a mom whenever it's needed. The one time she gets called into action, she really needs to showcase that she's still around, despite how things are, that she's still the mom that cares about her kids. Madeline also gets the approval because apparently there was a whole scheme about dinner where apparently there's a Skype-in budget of $40 for associate, and apparently Matlock got the permission to you can get $40 per person, so if you do want to get dinner for your grandson, we will cover it up to $40. Which I'm like, you know what? It's a little sweet. I mean, you can't do much with $40 nowadays, but it's still something. So Matlock's ready to clock out for the night. She says goodbye to the other two. She runs into Olympia and her the other senior partner on her way out, and she does decide to use the moment to kind of get back at Olympia, even though Olympia tells her, "You see, I did trust you," and because it all worked out. But Madeline's like, you know what? No, it's not a trust. You manipulated things. Yes, at the end of the day, it worked out, but at the end of the day, you kept me in the dark. At least the plan would have still worked had I not known about it. But instead, for the entire day while we've been working on this, all I've been doing is worried that, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? Do I have a job? How was I supposed to know? If this was the attitude you give and you weren't giving a straight answer, that's not really trust by the end of the day. That's manipulation, because you're not telling the truth. This isn't one of those secrets that Madeline needs to be known in the dark about. She could have just said, "Oh, by the way, I want to keep this possibility open, but I may need you to go into the bodega and act like a normal person, so I can't have you with us because they'll know you're affiliated with us, and they won't trust you otherwise in any other given moment." So even if that was the case, at least that would have still been fine, and Matlock knew about it ahead of time, but she didn't. So she kind of yells at Olympia about it and then leaves in a huff, leaving behind her food, which I just realized came from Italy, which is an amazing in Italian. And there's absolutely no way she got a $40 meal. No way. Those freaking dishes are super expensive, really super expensive. So Matlock leaves. She runs into Senior briefly. Senior actually calls her out in the whole, 1992, 1995 thing. And Matlock's like, you know what? I don't count the ABC years. I just don't count it. I don't know if that was a slight gag to ABC itself because this is being aired on CBS. But it kind of worked for the moment. It kind of got the job done a little bit. And everyone kind of surrounds Olympia about like, wow, you're not entirely trustworthy, trustful of people. So, and Matlock's a bit older, so while you have time to basically amend with us, you probably don't with her. She could die any minute, which I'm like, damn, all of these people with the old jokes, like, damn, Jesus. So she's like, fine. She left her food behind. I'll use this as an opportunity to go say sorry to her. Which, sadly, and this was the moment I said, this is where the suspense kicks in for me, where, like, remember, Matlock lives in a fancy, pseudo mansion somewhere. I don't remember exactly where, and she's listed as living in an apartment complex in Queens. So for me, I'm just like, damn, this is not going to end well. And I was like, actually, are we already gonna get like the lie? Are we gonna literally end this episode with like her realizing that Madeline doesn't live here, and then Madeline having to like find an excuse to get out of the situation next week's episode? That was what I was expecting going into it. I'm like, oh damn. I was actually like getting a little worried here, considering the fact that I kind of didn't want to go through like the whole like cliche, like let's find an excuse next week. We're gonna focus on that one excuse until like there's a moment where Matlock actually makes her fully believe that it was a legitimate reason. But no, actually, we open the door. It's actually Madeline, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? What? I thought this was one of those like dumb moves that they completely forgot about. Now they're screwed in the poo. No, apparently no, they live there. And, they continue acting like, nothing is wrong. And they basically play their story beat from beat, and, that works out and everything. And they try to get Olympia to stay over, but it doesn't quite work exactly. But they manage to kind of, break bread properly a little bit, actually get a little jive off each other, a little bit of step in the positive direction. But the real reason why they wanted Olympia over here and why they were planning this camp again, this long, elaborate scheme to basically get the point across that Madeline needs dinner when she's coming home late, is that they want to get Olympia's passcode from when they do eventually get her phone. So, because apparently they set up a fake fire alarm above the doorway, and they got her passcode as she was entering in to call Madeline. So it all worked out for them, and now they have her passcode, and I mean they're one step closer technically to figuring out who had the opioid documents. But that was it for this week's episode of Matlock. Again, like I said, this was a really damn great episode. I was enthralled by the end. It was still a good story. Kind of realistic twists and turns. I honestly was genuinely surprised at how really invested I was into this episode. I really was. Like, not to say like I've never been before in the past, but in terms of but most of the other times have been more character driven stuff. This is more character and story driven stuff. So it's been a while since I actually felt like this, really. So they're really up to a great pace here, especially again, Caddy Bass really selling it. Like now knowing exactly what she's up to, like having to play two facets of it. She's playing one Madeline and then playing the other Madeline, and having to really keep her story straight is like, damn. that was great. That was really, really great. I'm really starting to love the show even more. And it's only been 2 episodes. I'm already saying the word love, which I'm like, if I'm saying that, then it's great. It's really, really great. I don't really have much to say in terms of a complaint much. Like maybe the old jokes could die down a little bit, but like the delivery and the performance of those really work out in the long scheme of things. So I have no complaints about it. I will learn Jason Rittman's name eventually. Just give me some time. I'm just really, really bad with names. But again, I'm starting to really like this, and we are progressing things. Like Madeline said, piece by piece. We're gonna get there eventually. We just need to be a little bit patient. We got to build that trust. That takes time. Maybe hopefully not. I'm pretty sure we'll get something in the mid-season finale, but before we get into the new year. But I'm like, at least for now, I'm like, yeah, I trust in the writers where they're going. I really, really do. So that all being said, I'm gonna give this episode 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it so much. Let me know down below, what did you think of this week's episode of Matlock? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know down below. I would love to have a conversation with you down there. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the hopeful first season of Matlock. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Tube beside our Matlock episode reviews. Right now we're just doing Matlock. We might have some one-off seasonal reviews then and there. Maybe the occasional after the theater. Who the heck knows, really? But if you don't care about Matlock, you're in luck. We'll be back next week, Thursday, for another brand new episode review, so stay tuned until then. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. But until next time, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.